Welcome everybody. As I've said in earlier calls, this year more than ever with the COVID-19 situation, this is a perfect opportunity to connect and support each other. Hence our inviting everybody to benefit from this year's International Coaching Week, CPD and Business Building webinars. I'm your host, Dawn Campbell, Sales and Marketing Director at the International Authority for Professional Coaching and Mentoring, or as we like to call it, the IAPC&M. So I'm delighted to welcome today our special guest speaker, Katrin Prentice. Hello, Katrin.
Hello, Dawn.
So Katrin is an IAPC&M Master Coach, and she's also MD and co-founder of Paletry International. A quote I read about her is that she has contributed in an outstanding manner to the development of the coaching industry in Eastern Europe and has trained many of the leading names in the business and coaching community. Consequently, she was recognized as a leading coach of Bulgaria 2 years running, 2018 and 2019. And I'm sure you'll want to put 2020 to that when the time comes as well. Katrin is also a master distributor of Noble Manhattan's IAPC&M accredited coach training programs in Bulgaria and the Balkan regions. She's one of the first accredited master coaches in Eastern Europe and has over 3,000 practical coaching hours, coaching in life, executive, and as corporate coach. So as an experienced trainer, I'm delighted to hand over to her so we can all learn how to create the brand of you. So over to you, Katrin, please.
Thank you, Dawn. So first of all, I want to say hello to everybody that is currently online. Thank you for joining us. It's wonderful to see you. Some of you I know, I recognize the names. Some of you I'm meeting for the first time, so it's my pleasure to make your acquaintance. The way the format is on Zoom currently with this webinar, if you have any comments or questions for me, feel free to use the chat window. I think there's a chat window. Yes, there is a chat window. So if you type it there, every so often I will look and monitor if I see a little orange light comes on my screen to tell me that somebody wrote, so I'll be happy. If I don't see it right away, don't get offended. I will get to it eventually. And of course, Dawn will also be helping me, so we'll manage to answer any questions you may have. So, yeah, the brand of you, that topic, for me, it was an interesting topic. I have experienced some of the things that I'm going to share come from personal experience, and you'll probably hear some of my personal stories in this presentation. Some of these principles have to do with the way the market of business is currently. And okay, treating our personalities as products may not be the most appealing thing to do. However, there is something to be said in finding the best ways to stand out and to develop an engaging and easily defined personal image and so-called brand. Now, I would, because this is the International Coaching Week, I would probably address most things to coaches. However, of course, these principles don't apply just to coaches. They apply to any professional who would like to stand out and make a difference and be noticed for what is truly valuable about them. So, yeah, the motto that I picked for this presentation is live your uniqueness. There's only one of you on this planet, and you are created and meant to dazzle. So live your uniqueness, and the brand of you is about that. It's about you being who you are, being authentic, and shining the light the way it comes through the prism of you, your makeup, your shape, your gifts, talents, passions, your heart, your abilities, your experience. Okay, I see an orange light already popping, so Okay, so that's a welcome from somebody else. Good, so we're moving on. Now, what is our brand? Well, there's something to be said about it, that if you are not branding yourself, you can be sure other people do it for you. I have no idea who said that, but I thought it's a very interesting perspective for us to remember. So, and also the part of this presentation is about you taking responsibility about who you are and how you influence the world and how you project what you bring to the world. There's a lot of times that you can hear people say things like, oh, they didn't notice me. Oh, nobody gave me a chance. Oh, I was not recognized. Well, that is placing the responsibility on somebody else, regardless whether circumstances may seem as if they are truly what these sentences say. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot about what we can contribute. First of all, what we contribute to the world, and second of all, how do we project the uniqueness of what we give. So your personal brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. Remember that. And more importantly, it's worth paying some attention and discovering why it is so. Something else, your personal brand is what differentiates you from others. So in this webinar, we will cover a few points. The qualities of great you branders. There is the aspect of rinse and repeat. That it has to do with leveling up and continuous development. How do you define your VIP? Now here, VIP doesn't mean very important person, although you definitely are a very important person. You are a unique creation, and that makes you a very important person. But here, VIP stands for values and vision, image and professionalism. And then I want to touch on there are many there are multiple success stories that have to do with amazing people who left a legacy on the planet, in history, to our world, to our development. And I'm just going to touch on one of them. And then I'd like to finish on a thought that has to do with remembering to reap after sowing. And I'm telling you in advance that it's an important aspect that I want to bring at the end of the webinar. So stick around because it's something that hinders great professionals becoming successful. Or if you put it into coaching terminology, well, there are good coaches and there are successful coaches. Sometimes good coaches are not very successful. Sometimes successful coaches are not very good. The point is to be both. So for example, my coaching school creates great coaches, and we want them also to be successful. There's two sides of the coin. So I'm going to touch on that at the end. And if you're still here before I end, I'm going to tell you about mastering the art of coaching. It's a very interesting program that I'd like to mention about. All right, so here we are. The qualities of great branders. Now, these quotes are adapted from another amazing, actually, executive coach. His name is Carmine Gallo. You can Google his name. A very fascinating author. He has written multiple articles and has conducted a lot of seminars and motivational speeches. So this is some selected quotes that I have picked. So what do great you branders? There are certain characteristics of great you branders that are shared between them. So here are, we're going to list 4 such things. All right, so one of them is passion. This quote is from Donald Trump, actually. I didn't put the name underneath, but he said that if you don't have passion, you don't have energy. And if you don't have energy, you have nothing. Now, notice there's no mention here about education, diplomas, qualification, IQ or EQ. Now it's, emotional intelligence is a very popular topic, and IQ, of course, and none of this is mentioned here. It doesn't say you don't have education, or if you don't have energy, if you don't have passion, that's when you don't have nothing. I mean, don't you love being surrounded by passionate people? They have this certain energy buzzing around them, and it ignites you. It wants you to do something. So here's some good questions for you to ask. For example, what are you truly passionate about? I mean, only after you identify what you're passionate about, you will be able to turn around, look at your customers or followers or colleagues or employees, whoever you're working with, and tell them to call out to them and say, come on, follow me, and let's change the world and join me for the ride. If you're not passionate, why would they follow you? Is there something that keeps you awake, but not out of fear, but it's like, it's so exciting, you're burning with so much energy about it that it wakes you up and you want to just get up and go do it. So there is something just to talk about that, and it's good for you to think about it. And it's, again, living your uniqueness, because what ignites my heart would be different from what ignites your heart. But the important thing is for you to burn with the flame that you carry. And there is this other saying, again, I don't know who said it, but when you see a fire burning in the square, people come and watch it burn, because heat and light attract attention. So where is your heat and where is your light that attracts? Another thing, another quality of great you-branders: confident body language. Okay, good posture is associated with confidence, competence, and honesty. These are three interesting words: confidence, competence, and honesty. Remember, the brand of you is what people say when you are not in the room. So what are they going to say about your confidence if you're not there? How are they going to remember you? And how is your body language representing the competence in the field that you are working in? Also, honesty. Are you trustworthy? That's what here it's about. Another thing that relates to honesty in this case is authenticity. The authentic people have also that air of confidence and competence. Something about a posture has to do with how do you hold yourself. Are you slumping and slouching? Because slumping and droopy shoulders, all of that is associated with the lack of confidence and a lack of energy and a lack of competence. It's kind of like you want to hide, and that's why you go down in yourself and you basically disappear. Your body posture hides you. But when you're communicating the message behind your brand, well, stand tall, head up, be bold, maintain eye contact with your audience, or whether it's one person or 10 or 1,000, be there, connect, project, and also don't be afraid to use your hands. So that's another part of body language. Another part, number 3, great you-branders dress the part. See, people notice details. One recruiter wrote that when she comes to the interviews with the potential candidates, she looks at the shoes. Are they shabby and worn? or are they polished and well presentable? For her, that is, for example, a telltale of whether the candidate pays attention to details or not. So if somebody is professional and they claim to be competent and knowledgeable and attuned to the details of their job, well, their appearance should also speak about that. There's something to be said about, see, is the packaging of the product. And sometimes, many times, in fact, that's as far as people will go. They'll just look at the packaging. And if they like it, they might get interested further. If they don't, they might have second thoughts, and you have missed that chance. So the spokesperson is at the center of the brand experience, and you are that. You deserve the best brand experience to be represented in the best way. So one question that you can ask yourself is, how does your wardrobe speak about your brand? And finally, staying current. So it has to do with continuous professional development. It has to do with continuously learning, growing, and not just learning and growing, but it's also about sharing those lessons. You might not be, quote unquote, selling anything to somebody, but you should always give value. People should walk away thinking, wow, that was amazing experience for me. Made me think, or I learned something. And this is something that is left with the person that interacts with you. Now, staying current has to do also with being abreast on the cutting edge of your industry or your profession. Have you discovered anything new? Can you share something with your clients that they don't know yet? And what are the newest trends? For example, with this, okay, currently we're still into the COVID quarantine. Many people, I hear how it's, for them it's, it's so scary, so uncomfortable, and it is in many ways. I'm actually not minimizing it. But I truly enjoy people when they say, wow, this challenge gave me the opportunity to come up with a new idea. Or, oh, I took, now that I have more time, I took a new course and I studied this and I studied that. Do you use the opportunities that are presented to you to increase and stay current? When it first hit, when the quarantine got, when the government put our country in quarantine, that was in the middle of March, we are just 2 days before holding our monthly coaching masterclass. It's a program that we conduct in 2 countries, actually. We've been running it for the last 7 years, and for the last 2, it's been in both Bulgaria and Macedonia. So we were doing the Bulgarian coaching masterclass, and so 2 of our halls that we normally go to and we try to book for these events called us and say, well, we cannot offer you our room because of this new development, and we're all in quarantine now, and all public meetings are closed and forbidden. We literally had like a couple of hours on our hands, and we had to reshift everything. And so we did the following masterclass. Within a couple of hours, we communicated with all of our students. We found the new Zoom program platform, just like this that we're using right now. And we actually ended up being the first Novo Manhattan online coaching masterclass program. And now other areas of the world actually come to our meetings to learn how to do this online. And we also broke some conventional barriers of, oh, how are we going to sit now? It's a whole day training, right? So, oh, how are we going to sit all day in front of the computers? So all these mental blocks and people feeling uncomfortable, but we did it. People loved it. And now it's a whole new product. And it's so exciting. I felt like, well, thank God we had that quarantine hit us. And so we had to quickly come up with ideas and do something new and respond. And this is just one small example. We're not the only people. Many people, many professionals have done that. And that is awesome. This is the true genius. And this is what the brand, the view talks about. How do you react to these things? How do you stay current? Do you fold under circumstances, or do you ride the circumstances? It's a little, this reminds me of this parable of the cork, little cork. It's actually a poem, but forgive me, I'm not very good at memorizing poems. There's no way I'm going to rhyme it right now. But the story goes with how there was a little cork in the ocean, and there's a huge whale in the ocean. And the whale came around to the cork, and he, you know, like a big bully of his little pond of ocean, he turned to the cork and said, "Oh, I'm so mighty. Oh, I'm so fierce and so scary. Aren't you afraid of me? Because I can just sink you with one slap of my tail." And the cork is like, "No, I'm not afraid of you." And he's like, "How could you possibly not be afraid of me? Don't you know what I can do?" And the whale started. He was splashing with his big tail and making waves, and it was horrendous, like boiling water of the ocean all around him. And then he looked around, and there was the cork, still bobbing on top of the water. He said, "I don't understand. You should have been sunken by now." And she said, "Oh, don't you know, Mr. Whale, I'm made out of stuff that never sinks." So this is how circumstances in the sea of life are. Yes, sometimes whales come around, but those who survive, who are like that cork, can say, "Oh, excuse me, Mr. Circumstances, didn't you know I'm made out of substance that never sinks?" So, and that is part of the brand view. So here's something else. Bernard Shaw said, "Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself." Oh, I just want to say thank you to Marika. She made a sweet comment. "How wonderful and true. I discovered coaching and these amazing webinars these days." Yes, so happy that you can share this experience with us. So yeah, going back to what Mr. Shaw said, life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. And it's never too late to open a new page. It's never too late to start something new. It's never too late to rebrand yourself also. I personally, when I was, okay, so here we go. Those of you who are good at math will probably calculate things very easily. But I was in my late 30s, early 40s, when I completely rebranded myself and recreated myself. It happened as a result of very major value shift I experienced in my life. Now, most of my students that are studying with us on the Noble Manhattan courses actually know the details of the story, so I'm not going to share everything here. But the short version is that I experienced a big shift in my value system. They got rearranged, and as a result of that, a big change occurred also in my life. The two things are connected, and so after 19 years being a top professional in a different organization, and having branded myself in a certain way for 19 years, it's not like 1 week, it's not 2 years, it's not 3, it's 19. I mean, some of you on the call that might be the age that you are on. So it's not a small thing. And then, okay, the big great whale came around, splashed the tail, and I landed on a new shore. And so I had a choice. What do I do? So, just like the cork, well, I'm made out of substance. It doesn't just sink. So a wonderful, wonderful transformation happened in the way I looked at all my experiences and knowledge and abilities and everything that life had given me prior to that. And I realized I have an amazing treasure in my possession, and people needed that. And so I launched currently the leading coach training school in Eastern Europe. So if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't have coaching in Bulgaria, and no one had in Bulgaria or Macedonia or Albania or Kosovo or the rest of the Balkan regions. So it was through a difficult experience, shifting and being in a situation where I had to make a choice what to do next, and realizing that the precious treasure that the change afforded me, and that gave birth to something completely new that gave value not just to me, but it gave value to everybody else that was touched by it. So don't be afraid. I mean, I hear people like creating. Sometimes it's creating yourself, and sometimes it's recreating yourself. Don't be afraid if you're in a situation where you feel like, oh, but what am I supposed to do now? Well, actually, I don't know what you're supposed to do, but the best thing to do is take a hard look at all of your gifts and talents, all of your heart and passion, all of your experiences, all of the strength of your personality, and then ask yourself the question, who needs that? And just package it in such a way that you can give it to them. So here's something from a webzine. Even individuals need to develop a brand for themselves. I mean, companies do this for years, but we're not talking about branding companies. We're talking about branding you as a professional. So whatever your area of expertise, you can take steps to make people think of you when they think of your field. Think of yourself as a brand. You need to be remembered. What will they remember you for? What defines you? If you have it in you, well, do something that defines you. Invent something, develop a unique skill, get noticed for something. It creates a talking point. Another favorite mentor of mine and teacher that I have learned from a lot used to say, you gotta make them mad, sad, or glad. There has to be something as a result of what you do or say. Make them sad, make them glad, make them sad, mad, or glad, right? So, and then they remember you. They might not always agree with you, but we're not in the game of making ourselves liked by everybody and agreeable to everybody. We're here to shine our light through the prism of our shape and impact the world in the unique way that we're created to do that. So, truth is a point of view. Authenticity cannot be faked. I love this. Authenticity cannot be faked. And usually, if you try to be something or someone you're not, people either notice and don't remember you with very good thought or feeling, or they don't notice you at all. Because if you're copying something that you're not in some other people's brand or somebody else, then you sort of disappear out of the scene. So authenticity is what attracts the right kind of people and the right kind of situations and the right kind of opportunities to you, that they're meant for you. All right, so here we come to rinse and repeat. Yes, that mop and bucket was actually by chance, but I loved it when I came across it. I wasn't looking for a mop and a bucket, but it has to do with this daily mopping routine. If you want to stay current, like we said, and cutting edge, you gotta keep clean and sharp. So a daily mopping doesn't hurt. So here is some things that you can do. It has to do with how to better yourself one day at a time. Well, first of all, it's not only one day at a time, but it's also one thing at a time. Don't try, some people don't do anything because they get overwhelmed of, oh, this is way too much for me to do. And yeah, it may be way too much. So pick one thing. So first of all, have a starting point. You know, identify your strengths and your weaknesses. Know where you are at. And then pick a topic to work on. Start with something small. And it doesn't have to be earth-shaking. It can be, for example, creating a new habit, or for example, or eliminating a wrong food from your diet, or going on the attack and drinking 8 ounces of water a day. Something small and manageable, but that will make a difference in you. Or for me, for example, was okay, one of the good fruits of the quarantine in my life is that, oh, excuse me, that I have been doing yoga a lot more than I have done in the past. But it was a challenge. I had to actually discipline myself a lot more than before. Somehow having more time on my hands to manage, instead of helping me, it became more challenging, but it gave me an opportunity to level up, right? So what I discovered is that if I have this channel that I follow, it's an online yoga channel. So what I did is I printed a screenshot of all the little videos and of the exercises within, on the level that I wanted to develop myself. And I figured that the easiest way for me was to just print it and tick every day and write the date on each little picture of the that I printed out. And that was a victory for me because in spite of the quarantine, actually my body feels better, my energy is high, I'm healthy, my mind and my emotions are balanced. So, and also I feel like I overcame a weakness, which was not being able to manage my time properly to fit my exercise. So that goes along with the redeeming the time. Using the time in the best possible way, not wasting it. Something that helps with that is having a routine, having a good morning routine and a good evening routine, and fitting those things that are absolutely valuable for you. For example, part of my morning routine is my yoga time as well as my meditation time. And I just last night, actually, I discovered a channel that I started following. And I loved it. I love the approach to meditation. So that's a new victory again, something new to add to what you do well. Now, become mindful and aware of your topic. Being conscious, being aware, tracking things, paying attention. Sometimes when you start working on something, it's amazing how all of a sudden you start attracting either articles or videos or people that can teach you something about it or give you tips. So be aware of that and focus on collecting the best possible advice from all these sources. Now, track your time and actions. If you can't measure something, usually it's difficult to realize or be aware of the progress. And then if you can't measure your progress or success, how do you celebrate? And without celebration, it becomes this chore and it can become a burden rather than a blessing. So tracking your time and actions is very useful. Find the best way of doing it. For example, like I said, for me, it was a total aha moment that I figured out that it'll really help me on a daily basis take the little pictures in the snapshot of the yoga studio. That's worked for me. You figure out how do you want to track your, I don't know, ounces of water or your exercise routine, or connecting to people that you love, writing emails, whatever you want to measure and improve in. And then take time to write and review. You've probably heard leaders are writers and leaders are readers. Well, leaders are also reviewers. Doesn't rhyme, but the point is that there has to, like, taking stock of things, keeping stats. How are you doing? Where are you going? How far have you gone? How far do you still have to go from the goal that you have set for yourself? Oh, and the last thing about rinsing and repeating is, well, once you master one new skill or overcome one challenge or improve in one area, then pick up the original list of strengths and weaknesses, dust it off, look through it, and then pick another topic and another area to improve on. Maybe you can try something more challenging. For example, maybe you can learn to play an instrument or dance or sing or paint or something else. Somehow I came up with all these creative ideas, didn't I? Arts. But anyway, it can be anything. Maybe you can learn to plant a garden. Like, that will be a challenge for me because I'm really know nothing about gardening. But I have a dream about buying a new house. And so part of it is actually me learning to do gardening. So these are the things that keep you sharp and on the cutting edge. And let me see what's happening. John Fielder. Oh, hi, John. Sorry I'm making a little pause here, but John was my final assessor when many years ago. I was going through my final assessment as a coach. So I'm so thankful for you, John, all these many years. I have never forgotten you. And you made a difference in me, in my life and my development, because the feedback that you gave me was so encouraging, and it truly identified my strengths and gave me super tips for my weak areas that I have carried for so many years, and I have used also to when I help new coaches to grow in their skills. So I'm so very thankful for you. Thank you for saying hi. All right, and here we come to the VIP. Personal brand promotes you as a VIP. Yes, we covered. You're a very important person. That's no question about that. But what we would like to bring out here in this webinar is about that your brand speaks about your values, your image, and your professionalism. And that's how you should think about being a VIP. It's not about pretense. It's not about high and mighty positions and pretenses. It's about values. It's about professionalism. It's about image and impact. Yes. So here we come to Mr. Sochiro Honda, one of those success stories that I was telling you about. He is a fascinating person. I actually wrote an article about him in another magazine. It's called the Activated magazine. And I think I also have an article in the International Coaching News magazine. So about that topic. But anyway, so he's the founder of Honda. You've all heard about it. He was a genius. He was an inventor. But the interesting thing about him, he did not conform to the norm. Now, he comes from a society, the Japanese society is very much in favor of conforming to the norm. However, his passion and individualism sort of separated him as set him aside, set him apart as a businessman from that society. And he made difference. He wasn't afraid of doing something new and creating something new and leaving a legacy and living his passion. So yes, he got ostracized, but his unique vision also changed part of history. So however, a part of what I really like is how he started. So he went for a job interview to work for Toyota, and Honda got rejected by Toyota as not fit for the job. Can you imagine what would have happened? Anyway, who knows? It's another parallel world, you know. But in our part of the parallel world, Honda was rejected, and so he, as a result, what did he do? Did he give up and say, "Oh no, they rejected me. They didn't recognize my genius"? Oh no, he said, "Fine. So what shall we do? Oh, look at that. I'm going to open my own company." And he went and he competed with Toyota. So Honda boldly challenged later also the industry in another country. He challenged America in the 1970s, and in effect, he led a Japanese automotive revolution. Now, this actually reminds me when I was telling you, the shift I experienced in my life and my values at the beginning of my 40s. And so I had a lot of experience, 19 years of professional development and experience in different fields. And so I thought, okay, well, let's see, maybe the best thing is to find a good job. So I actually, I wrote my CV and I submitted it to a few companies. And every single time I got rejected. It's like, oh, some people say, oh, you're too good for the position that we're asking. And oh, you this and all that. And the truth is, I was trying to look for security. I was trying to look for job security. Do you know what job means? I don't want to offend anybody, but in case you're wondering, job means J is just over broke. So it's a strange thing. For many people, I mean, I'm actually a follower of the teaching of Robert Kiyosaki, his cash flow quadrant. I read those books right at that shift when it happened in my life. And I took stock of what he was talking about and what my life was all about. You know, the E, the S, the B, and the I quadrants. If you haven't, if you've never heard about it or read about it, I highly recommend that you do. There's a lot also on YouTube that you can find. It's about the four quadrants, 4 mindsets about money and security and financial security. So I was trying to find financial security in the E quadrant, in the employee. But changes have happened already. My employee position was already shifting. So I was just trying very hard to find another one like that. And as disappointing and actually it's almost like it was an emotional thing, you know, being rejected. And I experienced the very things that I'm telling you, oh, they didn't recognize me. They can't even understand the value of what I'm offering, you know. So I know how it feels, but I know, thank God that happened. Thank God nobody took me for a job, because I turned around and my husband and I just took everything we know and we opened the company. And again, currently we're running the most successful coach training school in this region of Europe. So here's something, a good quote from Honda. That's his statement. If Honda does not race, there is no Honda. So it's about pursuing your dream, living your vision. Instead of being afraid of the challenge and failure, be afraid of avoiding the challenge and doing nothing. That thing about, oh, things are so bad, I just can't do anything. Well, it's not true. And sometimes okay, there's fear. Fear is not a bad thing, actually. Fear is really not a bad thing. Courage is not the absence of fear. You've heard that, right? It's about feeling the fear and still doing the thing anyway. So it's a lot worse not to do things. And then success represents 1% of your work, which results from 99% that is called failure. I love this quote too, because sometimes people have unrealistic expectations. And I see a lot of new coaches that come to the, that they finish their education and now they want to instantly create a thriving business, and they have to be the most successful and famous coach the next day. Wait, I honestly think, I mean, all things are possible. I believe in all things are possible. But there's something about the learning curve of failure. And I mentor a lot of coaches. And they have asked me, so what tips can you give us? You know, you have a good coaching business and you have clients and you run a school. And so what's your tip? And I'm like, become friends with failure. Oh no, how could you possibly say that? I'm like, well, what do you think? How do you think I learned? I tried and it didn't work. I tried again, it didn't work. I think I have had more potential clients saying no to me than those who actually have said yes to me and have become part of my success. Of course, nobody hears about the failures. People usually look at the success, but it's a little bit like the story of that banana there, you know, a banana. We all go to the shop, we pick up a banana and we peel it and we eat it and it's done. But have you thought what it brought that banana to your hand? Somebody had to plant the plantation. Somebody had to clear the ground in order to plant the plantation. And then they cultivated it and they harvested it. And then somebody had to feed the workers and somebody had to clothe the workers and somebody had to pick the bananas and somebody had to transport them and somebody had to provide the shipping and everything. It's a whole chain of things that have to happen before that banana ends up in the shop and you buy it and you enjoy it. So that's how success is too. What you see at the end as the success is 1% of everything that happens. But you know what? It's fun. And the sooner you come to grips with failure is going to be your friend, the better. And so you can't rush it, really. There is a learning curve. But take heart, there's plenty of mentors that can help you and support you. There's plenty of coaches that also have paved the way. And there's the International Authority of Professional Coaching and Mentoring that is also here. And they have an amazing program of business building and training that is available for accredited coaches. So if you are not yet accredited with International Authority of Professional Coaching and Mentoring, then why aren't you? Get in there, get the resources that are offered, and enjoy the ride. All right, and we have a few more slides and we're done. So, build a valuable brand by branding what is valuable about you. And we come to the final thought. It has to do with the principle of reaping and sowing. Okay, so you all know this, right? As you sow, so shall you reap. There is plenty of application of this powerful truth. I'm not going to discuss that. That's not the point why I'm bringing it. It's not about how does this apply. Yes, as you sow, so shall you reap. But there is an aspect that I would like to bring to the attention, especially of new coaches and coaches who are ambitious and want to be successful. Do you notice there is two aspects of the sentence? One is sowing, but the other one is reaping. And in my observation, just looking at some of my students and some of the leaders that I have worked with, coaching leaders and support group leaders, many of them, it's something that has been on my heart. So this is my chance to share it. And I'm hoping some those people will actually watch this webinar eventually and hear this point. But I noticed people have so much passion about marketing and creating noise and activity and doing things for free and giving out content for free, and it's great. You have to carry your seed and sow it, right? And sometimes, yes, you have to prepare the ground, you have to water the ground, soften it, make it receptive. But the problem is, many times after they have exerted all of their passion sowing, they feel like, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to get a day of break and rest, and I'm just going to sow again. I mean, wouldn't it be silly if you saw a farmer working the field, working hard and sowing and planting, you know, and then forsaking the field and poof, go somewhere else to plant another field, and then say, oh, I have no resources, I have no fruit, I have no money, I have nothing. Well, of course you don't. You forgot to reap your field. You sowed it and then you left. And I can't say enough on the subject of follow-up and following it up on the fruits that you have, on the seed that you have sown and the harvest that is growing as a result. And those of you who are familiar with this passage, as you sow, so shall you reap, you probably have heard also, it's within the same parable of the same author. And he also says, the harvest truly is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Which laborers are few? The ones that are reaping the harvest. It's not enough to just sow and present. You actually have to have a mentality and a mindset where you're ready to receive your harvest. Yes, you have to set up your business. You have to be able to accept money when people want to pay you for your service, when they like you. And yes, they have come to your free event. And what happens to these people afterwards? Do you just forget them? Do you even have a landing page where you connect information so that you can connect with these people again? I mean, they were there. They obviously liked something about you. Otherwise, they would have left, right? So this is the point where I feel a lot of good coaches are not successful because they forget to reap. And honestly, being a good coach is great, but it's not enough. You actually have to learn to sell and sell well. And people will say, oh, well, I don't feel very comfortable selling. You know what? I'll tell you the best advice Gerard Donovan, who is the CEO and founder of Noble Manhattan Coaching, has ever given to me. When I first started working with Noble Manhattan, it wasn't about selling, it was about something else. But I have applied this principle ever since. It had to do with public relations, and I had a mental block about something, and I was telling him, sincerely believing that he will actually excuse me from doing it. I mean, this is why we give excuses, because we hope that people will agree that of course we're not supposed to do something. So I was telling him, oh, but you know, I really don't feel comfortable with this concept, and I don't know. And I had whatever, I call it playing the violin. I don't know what tune I played, but I played a tune. And he looked me in the eye. He said, he nodded his head and he said, you know what, Katrin? I have an advice for you. Get over it. So I'm telling you too, if you have a problem about selling and being set up with the mentality to actually receive, and you have figured out your business aspect of things, where you can collect the harvest and protect it, my advice is get over it. I don't care if you feel comfortable or not. That's why this whole thing is about, you know, rinsing and repeating and leveling up and continuously developing yourself. If you're good at something, but you're not good at something else, well, practice that something else and become good at it. It's part of the package and it's part of the brand. And if you need a mentor to say it like it is, well, I can help with that too. Okay, so believe me, it's not about COVID-19. It's not about the economic crisis. It's not about circumstances or the politics or the whether it's springtime. Oh, but you understand how it's in summertime. Oh, but it's wintertime and it's holidays. Oh, but it's just autumn and school time is coming. There's excuses galore that people sometimes give. It's pathetic. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with your mentality. Are you going to do this or not? And whether it's spring, summer, autumn, or whatever season I missed, whether it's depression or economic expansion, whether it's a recession, whether it's a political turnover, or if it's peace or war, doesn't matter. There's always people who succeed, and there's always people who find a way to excuse themselves from succeeding. And the choice of which one you're going to be is yours. And I think I'm done.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katrin. I think for all the people, I know she's very much loved and has a lot of followers, but for all those new practitioners or new coaches, even if you're not coaches, I know we've attracted a lot of people actually who aren't coaches but are just interested in coaching onto our ICW calls this week. You've got a taste of what Katrina's brand is. She's a fearless warrior. She's passionate. She's fabulous. And she's honest. She tells it like it is, and she stays centered. I mean, your personal story is very on point at the moment. You know, as you say, we've got COVID-19 and you've got people who have never done anything online. That's not a barrier. You just find a way around it. I loved your rendition of the cork and the whale story. I'd completely forgotten about that one. Thank you. And you're absolutely right, Katrin. You know, nobody is an overnight sensation. I often hear bands saying, you know, oh, we were an overnight sensation. It took 3 years or 7 years or whatever. That's the reality. So please, if anybody's got any questions in the last couple of minutes, when we've got Katrin online and her dedicated time and attention, because she's a very busy woman, please quickly put them in the chat box. I think one thing I'd like to add, if I may, Katrin, is obviously the brand of you is not just when you're at work, it's 24/7. So if you want people to remember you and think about you, you've got to remember that is your persona, that is how you behave, that is what you do. Outside of work is just as important as when you're in work.
And just like, sorry to interrupt you, Dawn, but just like we said that the brand of you is what people say about you when you're not there, the authenticity of the brand is who you are when nobody else is seeing you.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's where professionalism comes, because if you are one thing behind closed doors and when you're by yourself, and you're completely different when you come in front of other people, then you're not authentic, and it's visible, it's sensible, not sensible, but I mean, like, it can be sensed, you know. So that's where you practice behind closed doors. That's where you practice your values and your professionalism and your passion. And so it's kind of like, out of the fullness of your heart the mouth speaketh, you know. And so when you have had enough practice in private, you won't have any problem dazzling. Just like this quote says, there's only one of you on the globe today. You have been created to inspire and designed to dazzle. So live your uniqueness. I love this quote. So I put it in the beginning and at the end of the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
But, oh yes, before I forget, if you allow me, I was telling about this masterclass that we're starting online. So yes, if anybody is interested in trying it, I would gladly invite you. So this is about mastering the art of coaching, and it's a 6 hours training. Well, it used to be 7 hours training when we did it face to face, but now moving it online, we shortened it by 1 hour, but that's it. But I promise you that nobody has left the class yet. So if you want to find out more, it's very easy to find me in Google search. And if you type on YouTube, Katrin Prentice, or Online Coaching Masterclass, Katrin Prentice, you will see the reactions, responses of many students, many coaches from multiple countries that have come to this course and how they felt. So it's actually a certification program. It has 10 modules. It's once a month, 1 day a month, and it offers supervision, mentoring, a lot of practical education and practice, and it's very participatory. So definitely you won't be bored, and we definitely say things as they are. We have a special hour of the day where we discuss an ethical subject, and it's an ethical problem from the world of coaching, and you can't solve those by pretending. You have to be authentic and say things as they are and come up to the international standards of handling things. So the next day that we're having this monthly masterclass is on May 23rd. I am the facilitator. Currently the group is, like I said, multinational. Here are some people I want to show you. So we have people from Bulgaria, Kosovo, Albania, Macedonia, the Philippines, France, and Bulgaria, of course.
And it's all conducted. So if you want to, I know it's all conducted in English.
It's all conducted in English. Yes. Well, nobody has learned Bulgarian yet, unfortunately for me.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. That's not enough. Anyway, so here is my email, or find me on Facebook or LinkedIn. Like I said, it's easy actually to find me. Type my name, I appear. But katrinprenticeeurope.net. So feel free to contact me.
Lots of comments saying, love you, great presentation, that was brilliant, thank you very much, very inspiring, so much to think about, very unique and honest, and you've got a fabulous energetic persona that really comes across, which obviously is an important part of your brand. So thank you for sharing this very valuable hour with us on the IAPC&M ICW week. It's very much appreciated, Katrin. Everybody,
thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, very much so. And I hope everybody enjoyed it. And for those of you who are particularly concerned about the sales aspect, which Katrin is quite right, the brand of you wears several hats. You know, your marketeer, your coach, your salesperson, etc. Shadi in Jordan will be with us on Thursday morning, and he will be doing some sales on the webinar. So a discussion about sales, because at the end of the day, as us coaches know, it's just another conversation. So as Katrin says, get over yourself and start to enjoy those closing conversations. So thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a fabulous week, and we'll see you on our next call. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.